Next up, at UFC Vegas 70, we have Mike Malott taking on Yohan Lainesse. And I got to be honest, when I made this graphic, I was very surprised that I put 2 Canadian flags on there.
I was about to say, I think is this the first Canadian versus Canadian fight? I don't know. It might be. Charles Jourdain, has he fought a Canadian?
I just didn't expect Yohan Lainesse to be Canadian.
Oh. Well, says more about you than anything else. So.
Anyway, Mike Malott's 8-1 overall, 4-0-1 in his last 5. He's coming off that knockout win over Mickey Gall. Yohan Lainesse is 9-1 overall, 4-1 in his last 5. Coming off that close decision over Darren Weeks. This is one of the scariest favorites on the card, frankly. Mike Malott opened at a -235, sitting at -210. People seem very, very confident in him. And I understand your confidence in him as a fighter, but this matchup's a little different than most. Mike Malott is a pretty well-rounded guy. He's got some loose striking. He can box. He can kickbox. He does keep his hands low, which makes him a little hittable, but he's pretty technically sound. He manages range well. No specific background, right? He's this new generation of straight-up MMA fighter, so he can wrestle, he can grapple, he can strike. He can do those things. He's Mike Tyson did. He's mostly just like an athlete that's training MMA and learning like me at a decent pace.
Just a fucking freak athlete.
Yohan Lainesse.
And a freak.
Yeah, we saw you did that banana. Yohan Lainesse is a grappler. He's a grappler. True to form, he is a grappler. That's his style. But he will come out and he will bang, and he has big, heavy knockout power. His striking is not technical, but there is very real power there, and he will wing heavy punches while charging forward. As soon as you get comfortable striking with him, he'll shoot a double right up the middle. Once it hits the ground, he's going to work for control. He will pound away. I don't know why Mike Malott's a 2-1 favorite. I really don't. I understand he's going to be the more athletic guy. He'll be faster. He's probably more well-rounded, but he's not the better pure grappler. He will be the better technical striker, but he's not going to have more power. This is a tough fight. This is another one. I would avoid all parlays. I would avoid all of that here. Yohan's probably the better value, but you guys know me. I'm not a value guy. I'm not it's a close fight and this guy should win, so I'll throw money at it. I hate that style of betting, so that's not me personally. No bets here. I'm staying away from this one. I do think Mike Malott will win because of just the raw athleticism. I think there's a lot to be said about an athlete and what they can get themselves through, but these guys are basically the same age, basically the same amount of experience, similar styles, right? Yohan's less technical but more powerful. I mean, the lean's Mike Malott here, but no bet. What do you think, Jake?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest question mark, I think you nailed it on everything you said, surprisingly. But I think the biggest question mark is that, Mike has never won a fight outside of the first round. I mean, every single fight is in the first round, which is I don't know if he's going to finish this guy Yohan in the first round. And then it's like, it's just one of those question marks. It's kind of like the Tyson Pedro thing, right? You don't really know how somebody is going to react until they get in those situations. If you saw Tyson Pedro, it wasn't easy for him, and the dude just absolutely folded. And even against Mickey Gall, by the way, I think that was the lock of the week, Mickey Gall that week. Mickey Gall was, he was touching this dude. This dude was beat and bloodied on his nose. And yeah, he was able to finish Mickey Gall, but Mickey Gall is like Mickey Gall. If Yohan is touching this dude the same way, Yohan hits like an absolute truck, as Angelo mentioned. The difference is, and why I'm still leaning on Mike, and I'm still going to pick Mike in this matchup, is Mickey's shots were, tight shots, right? Boom, boom, just jab, jab, jab. Broke his nose, bloody him, that is what it is, where Yohan doesn't do that, right? He will, if you listen to kind of DC in the commentary of his last fight, it's almost like a telegraphed right hand, right? I mean, he just cocks it, throws a jab, and then throws the right, right? Cocks it, throws a jab, and then throws a right. And it feels like Mike should see that coming, be the more technical fighter, and slip and rip this guy and be there with the counter shots. But as I mentioned, and as you mentioned, a lot of question marks here. Yohan maybe with some takedowns and stuff. If this fight starts stretching, which I think Yohan, he's got to be the more durable guy, because we've never really seen Mike in that situation to be that durable guy. What's going to happen in the second and third rounds if it gets there? So, this is a big question mark. What's the round? Let me check the round line on this, because it's a 1.5 round line. This another one, it's -125 or under 1.5. I could see this easily going over 1.5, because they both, they're both landing shots early, and then it's one of those situations where they're both kind of beat up and tired, and then they can't finish each other because there's just nothing behind those punches anymore. One of those kind of weird fights. But I agree. I think Mike's the pick. But this is, I was also very surprised when he was that big a favorite. Yohan is going to be very, very live, and there's just too many question marks. It's one of those where it's like, wait until Mike proves it to you in a war before you bet. I said the exact same thing with Tyson Pedro. Let him prove it. You don't have to force money on these guys. Let him prove it. Keep that in mind, and then bet on him next time, because people got bit with Tyson Pedro, and they might get bit by Mike in this matchup.
Yeah, we're completely aligned here. Completely agree. So again, pick is Mike Malott, but there's no money there. You spending the $9,200? I don't think so.
No.
No, I think you got to go. I mean, $7,000 for Lainesse, not terrible value. The problem is this fight really could go either way. You're going to spend $7,000 and he could just get put out.
I mean, this could be. And I know I've been saying that there's been a few fights that could be fight of the night. This one could end up being an absolute slugfest war. Both these guys tired, bleeding, over a takedown, with this and that. One of those crazy back and forth brawls. I hope it is. But yeah, you don't want that if you're
this card,
if you're betting Mike, you don't want that.
This card could be the exact opposite of last week's card, right? Granted, last week's the undercard was great. The main card was just
my god, that was one of the worst.
Shit.
I was live streaming just like, oh my god.
Yeah, this could be the opposite, or at least the main card. This could be a very good main card. This could be one of those.
There's some really good matchups on this. There's a really good matchups on this. I think it's a nice little tune-up before 285 for sure.
It's what's nice about what we do is, if I was just, watching fights and just a regular, UFC fan, I wouldn't give a shit about this card at all.
Right.
But then doing what we do, watching the tape, all of a sudden I care. Hopefully we do that for you guys, right? You're watching the show. Maybe you're watching because you want to bet. You're watching because you care about the fights. Or maybe you're watching just because you think it's entertaining. Hopefully we're giving you some insight into some of these fights that makes them a little more interesting, because they weren't before.
Right. I mean, that's literally been my most fun part about doing these shows and breaking down every single fight and spending all day, every Sunday, watching film on every single fight, because every fight is now interesting to me. I know what to look for in every single fight, and that's what makes the live stream so fun too, because I will sit here and basically break down the fight as it happens. Like, this guy, he's going to do this. He can't do it. He's trying to do this, but he's not going to be able to get the, I absolutely love it, and I enjoy all you guys, and I love it.
Thank you so much. We have a $2 super chat from Gordo Gonzalez, basically asking if PayPal is the only payment option for a premium membership. Right now, the only payment option for premium membership on the website is PayPal. We do have a few other ways.
But you can check out as a guest, right? And just use a card.
Yeah, you don't need a PayPal account, right? PayPal is just the vehicle for processing your credit card information. If you don't have a PayPal account, you can just do checkout as guest, put your credit card in there, and it will just process your credit card. You don't need a PayPal account. So it's just the vehicle for processing the payment itself. If you truly you can't go to paypal.com, whatever, we do have premium membership here on YouTube. It's more expensive because YouTube takes a fat cut, and you're not going to get the optimizer. You're basically just getting the bets and the picks. You're not getting all the other stuff that is built directly into the website. People can, if you want to do Cash App or Venmo, you have to pay a full year up front. And I'll give you a year at $100. I'll give you a discount. A full year up front, because then that's a manual process. When you do it through the website, we obviously have very expensive software that manages everybody's payments and their active dates and all that stuff. If you want Cash App or Venmo, $100. That's a manual process. The We Want Picks is both the Cash App and the Venmo. Just send your premium account, go to WeWantPicks.com, click Become a Member, create the account, just don't do the payment. Then Cash App or Venmo the $100 with your user ID, and we will manually set you for a year active. So thank you for the $2 super chat. Genuinely appreciated.